Hassett, former chair of the Council of Economic Advisors, and Mike Faulkender, former Assistant Treasury Secretary and Chief Economist at AFPI. Gentlemen, welcome. Kevin Hassett, you know, he inherited 9% inflation, which is a terrible lie and would be 5,000 Pinocchios from the Washington Post. It'll be an endless Pinocchio. It'll be a bottomless Pinocchio. There's no question about that. But Kevin, then we have our friend Jared Bernstein, who's had a very rough time of it in recent weeks. He goes on Neil Cavutto's show, a colleague and friend, Neil Cavuto, and says, well, Mr. Biden really meant the underlying conditions for 9% inflation is what Biden inherited. I think that is an equal lie. I don't think there were underlying conditions. I want you guys to chew on that, and then I have a thought myself. But Kevin Hassett, what do you say to the underlying conditions argument?
You know, I think that if there were underlying conditions that suggested inflation was going to jump that high, then why wasn't the Biden administration telling us that the inflation was coming? Why instead were they saying that it's transitory and it's supply disruption related? It's not related to our spending. And so maybe there's been some amazing scientific breakthrough, and there's this new model that says, oh, yep, back in January, everyone should have known it was 9%. But if that's true, I would suggest that my friends at the CEA show us what that model is. My guess is we're not going to see anything.
And Mike Faulkender, just on this point, you know, it is quite true that during the pandemic, as the private economy shut down, government income, you know, negotiated by the Trump administration, we are all part of it, and passed by Congress, but government income was necessary for a couple of quarters to replace private income, which was lost. It dried up because of the pandemic, all right? Businesses stopped. But that's a different matter. That didn't continue. As the private income starts to recover, the point was that all the COVID spending was supposed to come down. But here's the point. In the Save America Relief Act, or whatever it was called, in 2021, which was the original sin, they didn't repeal it. They added on to it. That was the problem. They just kept pouring money on from the government when the private sector no longer needed it. Hence, too much money chasing too few goods.
That's right, Larry, because when you have the government come in and essentially replace the loss in private sector activity that occurred due to the shutdowns during the pandemic, and you'll remember that second quarter of 2020, we had an annualized decline of 28%. It's a very different situation to throw $2 trillion into preserving the American economy during that kind of environment versus the 4 or 5% growth on the first quarter of 2021 that Joe Biden inherited. But let me add on, if I could, to Kevin Hassett's list that he just gave you of what the Biden administration would have been doing had they actually believed that the seeds of 9% inflation were there. Wouldn't Secretary Buttigieg have been addressing the supply chain issues instead of being on paternity leave? Wouldn't Secretary Yellen have been talking in her weekly meeting with Fed Chairman Powell about changes to monetary policy rather than telling him to keep rates where they were if he wanted a second term? We can look at a whole set of activities that we would have expected them to do had they really believed that 9% inflation was in the offing, and they did none of it.
Yeah, fair enough. So if the conditions were there, they didn't do a thing to stop the conditions, and they added to additional conditions and made the story worse. You know, Kevin Hassett, let's go back to this. This morning consult poll from Bloomberg, real disposable income. You remember years ago, Professor Ray Fair of Yale had a very interesting presidential election year model that was based in large part about real disposable income. So that's income adjusted for taxes and adjusted for inflation. Under Trump, it was plus 12.4%, a very healthy number in 4 years. Under Biden, plus 2.9, a very poor number, one of the lowest numbers in post-World War II history. Now, Kevin, why is it? Why is it? Real disposable income has gone nowhere. And it's got to have something to do with falling real wages, I would imagine. And don't you think that is going to be, not only is that going to be a key issue in the debate, which is up in, 5 weeks or so, but it's going to be a key issue as voters actually vote come November. The Ray Fair model is a very important model.
Yes, it really is. And Ray won a Nobel Prize for some other work, but he's just a brilliant economist. And the thing that's really interesting, Larry, about his evidence is that you're right about income drives elections. In fact, in his model, real income growth drove pretty much every post-war election. So it's a model that always works. Forget about, what's going on in the Bragg trial and what's going on with Biden seeming like he's a little out of it and all that. It's just like the real income says that Trump's going to win. And the interesting thing about it is if you go back and look, it's the second quarter. That's people make up their minds in the second quarter when it's on the economy. And so that's right now. So people are making their minds up how they're going to vote in the fall on the economy if Ray Fair's data is right now, and that can't be good for President Biden.
Yeah, that's a good point. The other thing is, Mike Faulkender, the Fox poll, biggest problems for your family: 89% grocery prices, 84% gasoline prices, 81% utility, 80% healthcare costs, 74% housing costs. They all seem to have in common what? I'd say inflation. And I'd say Trump, given those bullets, given that ammunition, he knows how to handle that pretty well. Now, I don't know what Biden's defense is. Maybe Mr. Biden is going to keep saying he inherited a 9% inflation rate. I mean, I don't know how this is going to. I mean, even CNN moderators are going to call him on that. I mean, I know Jake Tapper. He will call him on that because it's a BLS fact. So you tell me, how's this going to play out?
Well, I think, Larry, that's what they're struggling so much with. I feel sorry for sending Jared Bernstein out trying to explain how he can square this 9% claim that the president has repeated over and over again. Again, you might forgive Joe Biden for getting it wrong once, but he continually goes out and repeats it. And then you saw both Karine Jean-Pierre and Jared Bernstein repeating the same thing. They're trying. This is just the latest number. Remember, it was transitory, and then it was Putin's price hike, and then it was shrinkflation. Now it's, well, all of the factors were there. They're just going to keep drawing. They're just going to keep grasping at straws until they can find something they think they can sell, because they cannot overcome the fact that household income on a real basis went up $6,000 under President Trump, and it's gone down $2,000 under President Biden. And so they are going to continue to lose voters unless they can, I guess, convince people not to believe their own experience.
Kevin Hassett, we got a lot of numbers out in the last 10 days on the economy, inflation, CPI, and retail sales and so forth. But one number we got, industrial production, particularly manufacturing production. So we went and took a look at it, sort of eyeballing the charts, Federal Reserve charts. Production is a Federal Reserve indicator. They're the ones that publish it. So basically, overall production hasn't moved in 2 years, Kevin, almost flatlined. Manufacturing production, flatlined. And even worse, business investment production, business equipment production, which you find in the production report, and which is a very important component of overall business investment and capital spending. That stuff's flatlined for 2 years, Kevin Hassett. Now, why is that?
Right. Well, the equipment investment even has been going down pretty sharply as of late. The thing is that President Biden is promising tax hikes in the future, right? He wants to lift the corporate rate to 28% and allowing the expensing of new purchases to expire. And so if I buy a machine that has a 7-year life and I think that Biden might get reelected, that all of a sudden next year my rate's going to be 28%, then it makes me less likely to want to have that machine. And so this is something there's a big economic literature on. I've written a lot of papers on this. It's very clear that when there are promised future tax hikes, that businesses look ahead and they say, oh, geez, I'm not going to invest because if that happens, then I'm going to get stuck, having invested too much. And so the very, very obvious predictable effect is happening. And it's that plus obviously the heavy regulation of the Biden administration. But we're not going to, if we don't have production growth, then you're not going to have income growth. And so we really are in the midst of stagflation if you look at production and inflation. Well, because inflation is still high. It's still running almost at 5%.
That's right. No. The first 4 months of the year, by the way, the last 4 readings, about 4.5% at an annual rate CPI. Mike Faulkender, I got 25 seconds. The point is, the Bidens want to keep spending, which increases demand. But these numbers are showing a flat line of business supply. So if you keep pumping up demand, government stimulus, whatever, that's got to be a recipe for continued inflation.
Yeah, Larry, the problem we've got is there's two different economies out there. There's the private sector economy and there's the government-driven economy. Overall, government's been doing just fine, but as you said, if you look at things like construction, if you look at manufacturing, if you look at mining, if you look at business services, IT services, those are flat because the government incentives out there are for growth of government and regulatory compliance. It's not for private sector innovation and growth.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. We'll let the debate games begin in a few weeks. Kevin